S50cc, you'll have plenty of time to catch up.
Okay, so we're doing episode by episode discussions of South Park, and we started with the first one. And yeah, you said you weren't sure if it was a good idea. How do you feel after having listened or watched it?
I don't, I don't know. Like, it's interesting. Someone who is interested in cinematography and all that, and animation, stemming from taking a video production class in middle school. So my teacher was very good at his job. It's interesting to see how they fairly well did the animation with just like paper cutouts.
Yeah, and do you normally like that type of animation,
Like
like stop motion in general?
yeah, I was a fan of Wallace and Gromit. I like the fact of how they did it with the claymation, like
Yeah,
all that. That's really interesting. And it takes tons of time to even do like a full length like show or even a film.
yeah. That's kind
Uh,
of like how it's kind of like how some kids used to like make YouTube videos with their Legos and stuff.
yeah,
Did you ever do anything like that?
never.
No. Yeah.
My Legos when I played with them, it was just like you make the set and then that's about it.
Oh, okay. Yeah. But yeah, there's something to stop motion because it takes so much time and dedication, and you have to be very meticulous. Every detail has to be accounted for,
Yeah,
and I think that makes it kind of like I think that's what makes it special. You can tell like the dedication that the artist like put into it, into
yeah,
crafting it. I think that kind of rubs off on you a little, and even with something like this, even with a simple kind of like 2D cutout animation style. I think they did a good job of like depicting what they wanted. It's like a parody of like a kid show. It's like an old like it's like a parody of like a '70s like kid show kind of thing vibe that they were going for.
yeah,
And it's weird, yeah. It's like a fucked up Blue's Clues or something. That's like the aesthetic a little bit in a way.
yeah. I can see that.
Yeah, because that had a lot of like cardboard like aesthetics too.
Yeah, I remember watching it back in the day.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff like that.
But we'll go one by one through the various aspects of the episode. Um, right away, just story. How do you feel about it? Good, bad?
The story for me was interesting. I guess for me, I found it interesting, like how like halfway through, like when it cut to the South Park sign, it was interesting because it felt like Cartman, where it left off, it's like sounded like Cartman kind of like agreed with them that finally it wasn't all a dream, and then immediately when it got back into it, he was back to the same old crap where he's just like it was just a dream. It's like it sounded like he realized it, but then suddenly he didn't. Uh, Also, I found it weird in the very beginning when it's like why would your little brother want to go to school? Like it sounds like he's supposed to be in like school too. It seems like maybe kindergarten or preschool. Uh, or even if it's a baby, then like why wouldn't your parents be watching it? And he's like, "Oh, my brother wants to come with me to school." Like, I don't know. I guess I can see that. Like, my parents tell me that me and my brother, when we were growing up, that my brother wanted to do everything I was doing. He wanted to like copy me, every step I took, he wanted to do the same thing. Which of course changed as we grew older and developed personalities. But I can see that. I guess you look up to your older sibling and you kind of want to be them in a way. So I can see that. But I don't know. I felt like the beginning it's just kind of we were thrown into it. But it was interesting, especially seeing I guess it's been there since the beginning, but the whole aspect of like, oh my god, they killed Kenny.
Yeah.
It's kind of a staple. I feel like for every episode.
Him getting killed.
Yeah.
Yeah. What did you think of his first kill scene?
It's interesting. I guess kind of blue balled me twice. First he gets you know, hit into the street and they think he's dead. They do oh my god, they keep kind of like, oh no, he's alive. The cows apparently trample him. And then he's fine. But I was
Yeah.
like, oh, maybe he's dead. No, and then finally after the cop in his cop car like runs him over, he finally dies. Though the one thing that I find a little interesting is after being run over, it's his skin's been torn away. I feel like it'd be more like a vicious animal attack or something, or like being impaled. But I don't think that would come from like a car crash victim.
Yeah.
So a little interesting, but I understand you want to show how they're injured.
So, I mean, humor. Let's be honest. It's kind of tame. It's kind of
it's
old.
very tame compared to I guess what like the clips stuff I've seen from later episodes, and even in like the games I've played. You know, which I guess to roll into that, I recall playing like the Stick of Truth, the game South Park: The Stick of Truth, and the whole anal probe thing was used heavily in that game.
Right. Yeah, it comes back for that.
Yeah, it comes back, so it's part of like actually progressing through
Yeah.
the game.
So now you have the context for the source material, I guess.
Yeah,
You got the lore behind it.
yeah.
But I mean, I don't know. Just in terms of watchability, how was it? Like, was it actually entertaining? Was it interesting at all?
It was entertaining. It's also entertaining to see how they did the animation exactly.
Yeah. And could you watch it as like a regular episode of South Park, or do you feel like the South Park feel isn't really there yet?
I don't know. I feel like South Park's supposedly known for its cruel humor
Yeah.
and dirty humor, but I don't know. I didn't feel like there was too much of that there.
Yeah.
But given it's the first episode, or as people would call it today, like the pilot, so I'm not surprised. Probably before they were able to get full like dirty, they probably had to pitch it to someone
Yeah.
somewhere, and so you couldn't fully go all out in the very beginning.
Yeah.
But for what it was, yeah, I could watch it.
Okay. Yeah. And what did you think of the characters in terms of their personalities? You said that Kenny's role has already been defined,
Yeah,
and then Stan and Kyle, they're like the more normal ones. They're the more kind of like whatever. They try to be the voices of reason, kind of. And then Cartman's the asshole,
yeah,
and then Chef is like the mentor, kind of.
yeah.
He's like the wise like black man,
I guess yeah.
Yeah. Which is an actual that's an actual literary archetype or whatever. It's like in that's like the character in like Mark Twain and all of that. It's the same kind of role, it's the same like archetype.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, same model of character.
But yeah, you got Cartman, who's kind of obviously he's defined as fat and doesn't really change, but he's kind of this fat kind of stuck up jackass, I guess. He was always just like he's making fun of people, in the show he called like what was it, Kyle's brother, Ike.
Ike. Yeah.
Yeah, he called him a dildo,
Yeah.
which doesn't even know what that means, but is he probably knows something
Yeah, dirty.
negative or dirty,
Yeah.
so he's gonna use it as an insult, without any like repercussions,
Yeah.
and all of them kind of have their own, I guess, like moments for being kind of like potty mouths, I guess,
Yeah.
but Cartman seems to have the most out of all of it, even in that episode. Like most of the times they didn't even fully know what stuff was meaning, and they seemed like they're pretty innocent.
Yeah.
The only one that seemed like they actually knew what they were talking about, which of course we never really hear, is Kenny.
Right. Yeah. His only role is dying so far.
Yeah.
What did you think of the aliens? Was it generic?
It's kind of the generic, I guess, idea of gray skin, like big eyes. I'm saying it's not fully generic. It's typically they're described as like little gray men.
Yeah.
These guys were very tall.
Yeah.
Like I felt like they're probably as tall as like an NBA player.
Yeah.
So that was the only thing that's really different, I guess, in the stereotype.
Yeah. And what about the abduction story?
I don't know. Like, it's interesting, and they set it up so it seems like it's been happening for a long time.
Yeah.
And that does fit. There's stories of aliens. Basically forever.
Mm-hmm.
People say they've seen them, or they say, "Oh, this place is famous for it." So it's, I guess, believable from an aspect. It's taking something that's like kind of real in real life and making it seem like it's true. Like most of these stories, when you hear them, they come from like towns in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
And like the town that South Park is supposedly based on is a town in like Colorado, up in the mountains. It's doesn't have a very big population.
Yeah.
But it's Fairplay, Colorado, which nobody really would think of going there. The one time on a family road trip, it was interesting. Like we were supposed to go to Fort Collins in Colorado, but it was during the summer, so it's of of course, construction season over there because you can't really work too much during the winter. And so all that we had, I was looking at the map. It said that the road was closed, so we had to go a separate way. Added like 3 hours, but we ended up going through there. And what's really funny is as you drive through there, they got these like little like kind of wooden cutouts of the characters from there. And of course, the town's called Fairplay, but like the high school's named like South Park. That like there's tons of signs like South Park Dentistry, all that. It's like I don't know if they're really playing into it or whatever,
Yeah.
but I think it's kind of funny.
Yeah, and did you like it there? Like, was it cool?
We kind of drove through, but it's like a small like mountain town.
Okay.
It's pretty high in elevation. I forget the exact amount, but
Does it look like a nice place to live?
I wouldn't mind it. It's like
Yeah.
surrounded by forest, so it's
Oh,
up
nice.
high in elevation. Looks like it had beautiful hunting.
Oh, so it's like Minecraft in real life?
No, and it's definitely not Super Mario in real life.
No.
No, it's not like that.
Yeah.
It's just a beautiful like small mountain town.
Okay.
Nothing too big. Though the high school looked kind of nice, but it's a public school, so it's funded by government.
Yeah. Did you like the Stan and Wendy romance or whatever?
Like I guess it's interesting. I don't fully understand the whole throwing up.
It's because
Like-
I guess he's nervous around her.
I guess, but I've heard people like say when they're nervous, like their stomach turns, but I've never heard of anyone like actually throwing up when they're super nervous. Like I guess when
Yeah.
you get like super anxious, occasionally like people
I guess
do.
it's just cartoon logic of exaggerating it. you
Yeah,
know?
I feel like it's exaggerating like anxiety,
Yeah. So,
but
I mean, other than that, overall, what kind of rating would you give it out of 10?
out of 10, I don't know. I'd say for the first one, and for what the show like typically you come to expect from it, I don't know. I'd say maybe a like 6.5.
6.5?
Like
Okay.
it's good setup. The animation definitely gives it a hint because I know in later ones it follows kind of the same logic of what it's supposed to be,
Yeah.
but it does change to being all done by computer, which
Yeah.
I guess in my opinion like takes away from it, like
You
the
think so?
charm of being like all done by hand.
Yeah.
Because there's something just about that when people put like hours or basically days into a project and that they love it that much they're willing to do that and go through that.
Yeah, it's more human. Yeah.
Yeah, but I guess for the whole mass producing it, it does make sense.
Yeah. The business side. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. So, yeah, I'd probably give it like a 7. Or, well, I'd give it like a 6. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know. That's all. We're going to keep these ones short.